What's good, y'all? Kalen here, aka Not Like the Prophet, back at y'all with a new video. In this video, I'm gonna be telling y'all about one of my songs that I dropped last year called Shine. This is mine, yeah. I'm gonna let it shine. So I started Shine back in 2022. Yeah, it was kind of on the back end of a really dysfunctional relationship that I was in. And at the time, I was just I feel like a lot of the stuff I was writing then was it was all about the relationship. And some of those songs will come out at some point in the future, but yeah, I just kind of was feeling really sad, really hurt, and not feeling a lot of positivity. And so again, I wrote a lot of songs that were just all about the relationship, and I kind of got tired of it. Like, it was very exhausting. And because the relationship had ended so soon after that, I just didn't really feel comfortable releasing something that was still pretty fresh as far as the subject matter of the music. And so with Shine, I was like, man, it's almost summertime. I want to make a track that feels like happy and positive and like celebratory, even though I'm not feeling that way right now. And so I kind of started playing with these different styles and ideas, and I'm gonna get into some of those real quick. But yeah, I played with those ideas and just kind of began to lean into this really kind of quirky but fun vibe, and that was kind of what led the way for the song to work out. So number one, I did say that the track I started in 2022. That was also the same year that Stranger Things season 4 came out, and so I was obviously I think I was watching trailers for the show and revisiting the previous seasons, and so the theme song kind of was in my head, and so I liked the arpeggiator that they have in the theme song. Yeah. Very basic, very 80s sounding synthesizer. So I like that. I wanted to keep that and emulate that somehow. And so there's this website called One Motion, and they have a bunch of free music, kind of like tools, games you might even say. But sometimes I use them with students because it's a really cool way to come up with chord progressions. And so yeah, I use this program to come up with the main arpeggio for Shine. So this is kind of what I came up with. Again, you could just the way One Motion chord player works, you just choose the chord, and you can change the key. So if I wanted to be in C, or let's say I'll say D minor. So you just, you can kind of click around, and you can map out those chords in the order that you want them to be. You can change the duration of the chord, the speed, the tempo, and they also have all these cool diminished and seventh chords and all that type of stuff. So I used that, and I came up with this progression just by playing around with it. Yep. So, it was a basic synth pad that was in the website, but I basically downloaded that as a MIDI track and brought that into Reason. And I basically found the equivalent of that same synthesizer in Reason's program. And so this is the building block for Shine. The other element that I would talk about is I sampled a drum track. You probably couldn't even tell. Most people probably couldn't hear it, but there is a drum track that's sampled in Let It Shine, and it comes from a song by Alicia Keys called Try Sleeping with a Broken Heart, which also, again, everything is 80s influence on this track. that drum, I love that song first off, but then towards the end of the track, she kind of just, the song fades out and all you're left with is the drums. And that's where I got the drum track from. Right here. This little light of mine. Yeah. So that was that. And then, so basically with those two elements, you have so that was that. And that's basically the building blocks. I obviously added some elements to the drum track. Like I wanted to mask the sample so it kind of felt like it's mine. So I added all these other elements to the drum track. I doubled the kick, added a stronger kick. And there's all these other various like percussive sounds, like just stuff I found in different programs. So, yep. Again, leaning more into this 80s stuff, I added some really cool like 80s style and synthesizers, more video game sounding stuff. And there's a tremolo effect where I had it panned. It's like bouncing between the left and the right ear. As far as the production, like the beat itself, that's kind of the main thing. I did change some things in the second half. The second verse has a completely different like template, and where that came from actually. So there's another version of this song that's out there. I haven't released it. I don't think I ever will. But there was a time where I was really kind of feeling insecure about the style of it. I thought it needed to be more trap sounding, and so I made a different version of the track where it was basically like an 808 trap style drums. And it was a whole version of the song that was that way. And by the time I finished it, I was like, man, this is fine, but it kind of lost a lot of the personality of the original song. And again, the whole point of it is to be like this really positive track. And so I decided to go back and throw it in, and that became the second verse section. So I kept it in there. It's still there. It was just the second verse. Which ironically is like one of my favorite parts now because the energy. That 808's killer too. Other things, again at the end, I initially had an outro that was different than what the current outro is. Different lyrics and everything, but I had this like, again, just like a wall of like synthesized sound. And I just did away with the outro lyrics and instead just put a final like repeated outro with gang vocals. But this was like the all the stuff. There's like a synth brass track. Also, my roommate played acoustic guitar on it. The gang vocals was just some friends of mine from church. They came through and helped me out with that, which was awesome, by the way. My roommate's in that too. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. It may get darker in time, but I don't mind. I promise that. Yeah. So the idea, I didn't say this, the idea for the Let It Shine chorus actually came from Ultralight Beam. I was listening to Ultralight Beam, and Chance the Rapper has that part where he's like, this little light of mine, glory be to God. And I was like, I don't know, just maybe kind of want to try to use that in some way.
This is my part, nobody else speak.
This little light of mine, glory be to God. Yeah. So I give credit to Chance for the idea. Also, I just love sampling like songs like that, like songs everybody knows. I did it with Lullaby. This is another one of those. And I did it with You Alone too, As the Deer back in the day. And then obviously this track. And the cool thing with this one and Lullaby is that both of those are like public domain tracks or songs. So I didn't have to do anything as far as like clearance for samples. Something else to mention, there's some really kind of wacky vocals in the chorus section that I added. This was like later in the process, so like last year as I was finishing the song. The idea for that actually came from the Beach Boys. They have a song, I mean really a lot of their songs has a lot of really cool, they do a lot of really cool stuff vocally, just with harmonies and like really cool like stacked vocals. And I don't know, just hearing what they do in songs like Don't Worry Baby. So that inspired me to kind of stretch a little bit on what I usually do with my choruses. So I already had the lead chorus section, you know, which is the light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, I'm gonna let it shine. It may get darker in time, but I don't mind. So we had that, but then I added in these like, I call it the ooh-ops things, just some like, you know, stuff to go underneath. And I love them so much, dude. That's me, by the way. I did all that. So I basically just played it out in Reason one day, and then I came in later and added it with my own vocal. And so that's essentially it, man. That's kind of the project. That's the song. Definitely went through a lot of changes. But it's funny, I feel like it changed a lot, and then I initially just went right back to where it started. So like, as time went on, I started trying to experiment with it more and do different things because I was afraid of how it would be as it is. Because it's unapologetically my style of being very eclectic and like kind of goofy sonically. But again, the more I tried to change that, the less authentic it felt and the less like unique it felt. So I kept kind of going back to the original style. So yeah, that's kind of how that went. And yeah, I hope to do more of these, man. I love talking about music and I love sharing with y'all. I have not been doing that as much as of late, so I want to get back to it. But yeah, I hope y'all doing well, and hope to catch y'all in the next one. Peace. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. It may get darker in time, but I don't mind.